Hello everybody, this is Jay with jrwelding.net. Today is February 2nd, 2018, and it is 2:14 p.m. So there's been some changes here at the home office, and what you're not seeing on that side of the screen, over that way, is a older HP Z800 workstation with a GTX 980 GeForce video card from Zotac, and it's a Zotac Amp Edition with 4 gig of RAM memory on the video card and a 21-inch screen, LCD screen. What you're seeing here is a replacement. This is a widescreen LG, and it is a 29 point something LCD, and gives a heck of a lot of room to move around on. If I can bring up my menu, I don't know why my menu is not coming up now. Okay, there we go. Ooh. So that's a pretty big screen. Pretty much do a whole bunch of web design work on this side and bring up all my assets on the right hand side of the screen. What used to be here is a 27-inch iMac, Core i5 with 16 gig of RAM memory, and it was a late 2010, I believe it was. So that has been replaced with the trash can, and probably the most hated computer in all the world right there, but they're still holding a heck of a value on eBay. So that was supposed to be a Christmas present, and the story about that is I bid on a dual core, I believe it was, Mac Pro, and it had 8 gig of RAM memory, and I was high bidder, and the son of a bitch wouldn't ship it. I guess because he had 0 points on eBay, and nobody knew who he was, and I was a little leery about paying over $2,000 for it. He just delayed. Finally, I put in a request for a refund of money, which he did right away, actually, thankfully. The only good thing he did about the whole transaction on eBay, and that was around Christmas time. I wanted it to arrive right after Christmas as a Christmas present to myself, and it didn't happen. So I went ahead and bid on another one, and got it for the same price, give or take $100. And this one is a late 2013, of course, 3.5 gigahertz, 6-core Xeon E5 with 16 gig of RAM memory. His had a 256 gig hard drive. This has a 1 terabyte hard drive, and his was a D300. This is a D500 with 3 gig per card on it. So I was really happy about that. And got 1 terabyte in this, and I'm really happy with it over the Core i5 iMac 27-inch that I had. I know that these get dogged on YouTube, and there's really not a lot of recent videos. So that's why I kind of wanted to do a 2018 video about this. It's really very good using Final Cut Pro 10 Pro, and very happy with it. I mean, my i5 was definitely stuttering, and this doesn't. The D500s are great cards for 3D graphics. I primarily use this for web design, Blender 3D, and Final Cut for doing video commercials, that sort of thing. The other addition to my desk is the keyboard here, which is the Apple full alphanumeric keyboard, and I really like that. That replaced this one here, which still works, However, the escape key doesn't work on this. And this is actually going to go into my work office, my real work office, to be the keyboard there, because the 27-inch iMac went to work because I'm so used to using Mac products that productivity level is a little bit better on the Mac than using a standard desktop at work. The other addition, oh, by the way, the keyboard, and let's talk about this Logitech, and what is this? This is a MX Master 2S, and it has some cool features. One of them is on the bottom of it, you'll see the 1, 2, 3. You can actually attach this up to 3 computers, and it has something called flow. So as you move the mouse, and I guess the keyboards have this too, and I actually wanted the Apple keyboard over the Logitech. Logitech has a big knob on the left-hand side of it, and it allows you to, it's kind of like a magic thing. Basically, if you're in a certain application, you can set that wheel up to do specific things within that application. Looking back on it, maybe I should have gotten that with this, but so as you bump the side of your screen, it automatically goes to the other computer that it's associated with. So if I'm sitting here at this desk and there's something on the Z800 that I have down there with the GeForce video card, I can just kind of mouse over and click on something, start something up if I need it. That's a rendering machine, or was anyway, until I got the Mac Pro. Mac Pro does such a good job rendering at, I'm probably going to use that more than likely, but the Z800 is a fallback on that. So anyway, I can move over and do that. The only thing I really don't like about this mouse is I think the Magic Mouse is a little bit heavier. This thing tends to glide around so much that it feels like nothing in your hand, and maybe that's a good thing and maybe it's a bad thing, but to me it's definitely having to get used to it. The other thing is it's so high up that because of the Magic Mouse being so low, I tend to put the pad of my hand on the mouse pad and move things around. With this, because my hands are small too, I kind of have to get up on top of it, and probably need a mouse pad with some kind of a bridge on it. And the wheel is so smooth on this thing. I mean, I don't know if you can see that, but that thing is spinning, freewheeling like mad. So whenever I'm in Blender and I need to have that center wheel to change focus on objects, it always tends to either scroll in or out as I'm moving my finger off of it, just because of the geometry of the mouse. The other addition to the desk, the keyboard and the Logitech mouse was a very kind gift from a friend of mine, so for Christmas. This was a kind gift to myself for Christmas also, even though it got here a little late. For those that don't know the Mac Pro, it literally is probably the most hated computer on the face of the earth. I really like it. It's dead and doesn't put any real air out, I mean, I pulled the case off and everything's working fine, but it just, even on high load rendering in Blender, which tends to really kick up the fans on everything that I've ever had, it just stays steady. Okay, so the other addition, which came in this week, is this bare naked hard drive caddy, and this is from OWC, Other World Computing. And they have two versions. They have a plain USB version, and then they have the Thunderbolt version. I went ahead and ponied up the considerable amount of price difference to get the Thunderbolt because, heck, might as well, right? I'm upgrading all my peripherals here, the ports here, so I might as well upgrade the peripherals and get the most out of it, even though I'm running a very old Dell T300 hard drives. They're SATA, but they're out of an actual server that sat right down here, and that was a Dell T300 that I have donated to my work because we actually run T300s at work as our terminal servers, and it's nice to be able to have that machine to replace one that blew up, and just move the drives over, reinitialize the hardware in that box, and it's up and running in about 15-20 minutes. The reason I went with this bare drive caddy is that with software it doesn't do it offline automatically, unfortunately. That would have been a really nice addition to a drive, a caddy of this price, but it can duplicate hard drives. So if you use cloning software, you can very rapidly clone a hard drive right to another drive of equal or greater size value. Never really did a striped RAID on a Mac before, and it was so easy that I just, I can't believe how easy it was. So you go into disk utility, and little detail on these drives. I bought that T300 Dell from a client of mine years and years and years ago, and it had 500 gig of hard drive space in it, and I never really ever questioned it. The RAID was already set up. I just went ahead and deleted the files off of it and started using it as a web server. It had server 2008 on it, R2. And I pulled the drives out because I don't need them for donating it to work. And I'm like, hey, I've got these 500 gig hard drives. I'll go ahead and get this OWC caddy and stripe them in groups of 2. And that way I'll have, 500 gig redundant backup, and, move my Blender designs and commercial designs over onto them and swap them out as I need to. And so I go ahead and I pop it in there, and they are actually 162, I think, 65 gig hard drives. So they're not actually 500 gig hard drives. Yeah, I was actually hoping to have 500 gigs, so unfortunately I don't. I have 319.31 gigabyte per RAID set. So anyway, when you're in disk utility, you just come up to File and RAID Assistant, and you basically pick your 2 RAIDs and whether or not you want redundancy, blah blah blah. Like 3 questions, and about 5 minutes later you got a RAID set, which is really cool. So I went naked, got a new Mac Pro, used Mac Pro, used new to me, and really happy with it. Way faster. I would say probably 3 times faster, and this is perception. I never really benchmarked it either one, but probably 2.5 to 3 times faster rendering Blender assets than my Core i5 27-inch. The 29 point something, I say 30-inch widescreen monitor, new keyboard, and Logitech MX Master 2S mouse. And there is something else. There's one other thing which I'm using to record my Osmo with, to control my Osmo with, is a iPad Pro, and I can't remember the size. I think it's the 11-inch. And I really wanted to do this video about 2 weeks earlier than what I've really done. I got the Mac Pro in, and the next day I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a video. I got my DJI Osmo out, and I've been watching some. I'm not a pro with videography by any stretch of the imagination. I have a nice Osmo Plus. Got the Osmo Plus out. I had been watching YouTube videos, and a professional photographer that uses the Plus said, you know, if I haven't used the Osmo Plus in a while and it's been bouncing around in the car, etc., I like to calibrate the gimbals on it before doing anything major. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and calibrate the gimbals. Camera booted up fine, did a test video, and then went to calibrate the gimbals, and the whole camera went dead. Bang. Out. Did some research online. Evidently a lot of people are having that problem with certain generations of the Osmo Plus, and I bought it right as it came out. So I contact DJI. They call me back and they say, they tell me, hey, you got to send it back. Like, okay, I'm going to have a hellacious, repair cost on this. About 6 days later, after they receive it, they shoot me an email. Your exchange is on its way back to you. Should arrive within 5 to 7 business days. And wow, super, literally free of charge replacement on the handle and the gimbal, which I was thrilled about. So props to DJI, and I appreciate it very much. Hey everybody, have a great day. Stay safe, please. If you like my videos, I make no money on this. I think in the 10 years, 11 years that I've been on YouTube, I've made 3 cents monetized, and just really kind of gave up on the whole ad thing. Decided that with all the changes here recently, I'll continue doing my videos, but I don't care whether I make money on them or not. This is my office. It's a mess, and believe it or not, I did clean it up before doing the video. But please hit the like button if you like the videos. Always talking about something, maybe a little. Okay, so a couple things I neglected to talk about with the OWC drive here. Each drive has an independent power button in addition to a master power switch on the back of the unit. And these just pull out. And there's also doors here that, well, we'll go ahead and show you that. So the first thing you want to do is eject the rate set. And you'll hear both of these actually spool down. And then just hold the power button in on both till the lights go out. And then you're ready to yank them out. So there's a very warm hard drive, but in addition to the full-size drives, it'll accept a laptop drive, so you can put SSD drives in here if you want, stripe them out and have really fast transfer speeds. When you're ready to put them back in, you just do that, power both of them on at the same time. You'll see a pink light, and then they'll go blue. You'll hear them spool up, and then here shortly you'll get an icon on your desktop, and I named mine RAID Set 1. RAID Set 2 is sitting on the floor, and I've got a few folders in here, business cards, a Blender project I'm working on, and some music clips that I use. So that's the deal there. It's an aluminum case with a plastic top, plastic bottom, rubber bottom, so it really doesn't move around too much. Very nice build. When you buy the Thunderbolt unit, it also does have USB, and they send you the USB cable, which is let me get in the frame here, that end, and then the standard end on the other end. And they send you the Thunderbolt cable too, which is a little bit longer than this one. This is really a heavy USB cable, which is, the quality is there, what I'm getting at on that. So you can do SSD drive, or SSD drives or standard SATA drives. I actually have a NAS unit in my living room running Plex movies, and I'm thinking about, that has two 1 terabyte hard drives in RAID, and I'm thinking about pulling them out and moving the videos over to this box, so that I have the Thunderbolt capability and the speed of doing that for Plex, since Plex is actually sitting on here and I have another Plex server on my Z800. That would be kind of cool. Anyway, just wanted to add that in. I'll edit it into the video somewhere along the line. Thanks.